What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Reddit reading video. I know it seems like I haven't posted for a long time and my voice might sound a little hoarse right now. I have been at VidCon for the past 5 or so days. That's why I haven't posted a video in a few days. I tried to post a few videos while I was there. The way I made the videos, I rushed them. They were not good at all. When I posted them, they were getting disliked. So I just decided to private all those videos and just be take that time as a little break on the channel so we don't just put up, some old booty videos and then continue back on our trail of making good videos when we get back home. And guess what? We're back home. So today we're going to be doing r/malicious compliance, which is people conforming to the letter but not the spirit of a request. You're only a builder. What the heck do you know? Just build a dang thing to spec, LTF, FTS, etc. This is fairly long, so there's a TLDR at the end. But this is one of my favorite stories from my hometown. It was long ago, so the specifics aren't that exact, but overall, the story is as it happened. I grew up in a small town community on an island off the coast of a thriving metropolitan area. It has its ups and downs, but it was generally pretty quiet sort of life. The community had a fairly large immigrant population from the various European countries, and one of those was, well, let's call him John. John the Builder. He and his numerous brothers had all moved to the island together and started a construction company. John was a big, affable man, easygoing and always smiling. He spoke excellent English but had a thick accent. Some people assumed his accent meant his grasp of business was lacking, but usually not for long. Within a decade or so of him moving there, John and his brothers were pretty much the only builders of note on the island, and anything bigger than the garden shed would go through them. Around that time, my granddad retired and moved to the island with my grandma. He contracted John to help him build his retirement house, and they bonded over their mutual appreciation over really good concrete mix and pour. By then, John's family were good friends with ours too, so John and my grandpa kept in touch regularly, and would often get involved in discussions of building methods and Some years later, the old couple running the main petrol station in the town decided to sell up and retire, and the place was bought by Big Fuel Company. Big Fuel Company decided that the quaint old station and garbage was in dire need of a complete makeover and modernization, and drew up plans accordingly. After putting the work out for tender, they grudgingly accepted that with the cost of relocating and labor force from the mainland to the island for the work, John's construction firm was by far the most cost effective. They weren't happy about it though, and made it clear that they thought John and his brothers were a bunch of rural cowboys who couldn't be trusted to nail 2 planks together. Still, the contracts were signed and the blueprints delivered to John, as well as the usual amenities. The new station was to have a high, artistically stylish roof over the fuel pumps, held up by 2 support pillars. You know, that sort of thing. John read the plans, thought about the stiff sea breezes and the location was subject to, and frowned. He took the blueprints around to my granddad and discussed them, possibly not entirely within the bounds of the contract, but John was concerned. The next day, John rang Big Fuel Company's contract and said in his thick accent, "This roof isn't going to stand up. The support pillar footings are too shallow, and the roof itself is too large for pillars that size. Plus, you haven't factored in the strength of the winds we get there. Everything else is fine, but you need to redesign that roof." "Rubbish," scoffed Big Fuel Company guy. "We had it designed by a very exclusive architect, and our engineers signed off on it. It's fine. You don't know what you're talking about." "Maybe," said John, "but I've been building here for 20 years, and I think you should go over my design again." "Don't be ridiculous. You're just trying to get the contract extended. We don't need to check the design. Now get building." Click. John, being a genuinely nice bloke, thought that maybe this was just one person being difficult, and also felt that this sort of thing should probably be in writing. Sat down and wrote a clear letter expressing his concerns about the fuel pump shelter, and sent it overnight to the Big Fuel Company office on the mainland. The next day, he got a call from Big Fuel Company office, from someone further up the ranks. "What the heck is this? Who do you think you are, trying to tell architects and engineers that they don't know what they're doing? You're only a builder. What the heck do you know? Just build the dang thing." "Could you put that in writing, please?" asked John. This is the point at which sensible manager would be given pause. When the contractor specifically asks for it in writing, you should probably ask why. "Fine," snarls the Big Fuel Company guy, and faxes through a terse note that he'd read the letter and considered it mistaken, and to get on with the construction. John shrugged, carefully filed the note, and went ahead with the build. A little over a month later, the new station was finished, roof and all. On a pleasantly gusty day, perfect for sailing, Big Fuel Company bigwigs flew over to see the results. standing there with John and a curious crowd of locals. They watched the shiny new stylish roof, danced and swayed in the wind, in a manner decidedly unlikely to reassure anyone thinking of refueling their car underneath it. "What the freak is this?" inquired Big Fuel Company boss. "Just what I tried to warn you about," replied John. "BS. You screwed up the construction, and now you're trying to pin it on us? We're not paying for this. You're going to need to tear it down at your expense and build it right. It's built exactly to your blueprints," said John. "If you want it rebuilt, you have to pay for it. Preferably with a new design. Not a chance. This is on you. And if you try to dodge responsibility for it, we'll sue." "Sounds good," said John. "See you in court." So the fuel section was cordoned off, and legal proceedings went ahead. I don't know much about them, but at some point I do know something like this happened. Judge: "Defense, you may call your first expert witness." John's lawyer: "Thank you, Your Honor. We call Professor Thornay's granddad, internationally recognized civil engineer who chaired the report into the redacted bridge collapse and was head of engineering at university for 25 years. Big Fuel Company's team legal." John's lawyer: "Thank you for joining us, Professor. Would you please tell the court how you first learned about the project in question?" My granddad: "Of course. John first approached me with his concerns directly after receiving the blueprints. I agreed with the assessment, and I have since drawn up a brief report on the problems of the roof design. The details and supporting calculations are in pages 4 through 16, but if you don't mind, I'll just read the summary. I noted the following problems." Big Fuel Company legal team: "Oh dang." With that and the note John had, it didn't take long to be settled. Big Fuel Company was on a hook for all of it, plus legal fees. They had to pay John to tear down the unstable roof and build a new one, designed by a different architect and checked by off-site engineers. Nonetheless, when John got new plans, he rang Big Fuel Company and said, "Hope you don't mind, I'm just gonna run these past the prof before we get started." TLDR, small town builder gets big contract spots, problems, and raises concerns. Is told to build the spec. Build suspect? Problem happens. Big company tries to blame it on small town builder and is dealt righteous retribution for the surprisingly well credentialed local. My God, who wrote this? An English major? They must have really thought this out. It was written almost like a book kinda. The funniest part is that they had to pay John again to break it down and rebuild it, cause like that was the cheapest way for them to do it. He did get his malicious compliance and a little bit of revenge in there. Got paid again to take it down, got paid again to build it back up. So he was in work for a little while, so that's good for him. This is almost like a positive situation, and didn't have to pay any legal fees too. Let's read one more short r/malicious compliance story. Want a child ticket? Sorry man, I can't let you in. So here in the UK, a 15 rated film means that you have to be 15 to see the film. No exceptions. Back a few years ago, we had 2 ticket types in my cinema, adult and child. It said change to incorporate a teen ticket. Child was under 15 and adult was anything above. This guy comes in with his mates, back at the queue to get in, but can be heard throughout the foyer, being all loud and obnoxious. And the generalization I found in my experience in the cinema is that if the teens on their own are loud and obnoxious in the foyer, there's a high chance they'll be the same during the film and generally be a nightmare in the screen. I start to notice some people in the queue looking over at him and rolling their eyes. I get the pleasure of serving this guy. Comes up to me, still shouting over his mates who are getting served by some of my colleagues, and asks for a ticket to see the 15 rated film. Can't remember which one. One of these low budget, bad horrors that come out in their mini sequels, recently Insidious or Sinister or Annabelle or whatever. He looks about 16 or 17, but since he had a ticket, work script autopilot takes over. And I ask how old he is, so I can tell him the correct ticket type. Him being the person he is, and probably since he's always gotten away with it before, to get a cheaper ticket price, he said he was 14. The moment he said that, a massive grin washes over my face. Sorry mate, this film's a 15. Holding back my glee, and not having to deal with this BS for the next 2 hours, I can't let you in. No amount of begging and pleading would make me budge. So we asked to speak to the manager. The manager comes down, sides with me, and he's on his way. Day ruined. Wait, did his friends go and see the movie too? I wish they would have said that. This is kind of like a petty revenge. This is really good though. That bratty little teen got what was coming to him. Thank you guys for watching this r/malicious compliance video. If you enjoyed these stories, please let me know down in the comments. If you would like to, please like this video, and if you would like to, also subscribe. I hope I see you guys in the next video. If you have any suggestions for subs that you want me to cover for sub review, then let me know down in the comments. I'll see you later, and goodbye. My lovelies.